أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم صل على محمد وعليه وأصحابه وأتابعين وأجمعين أما بعد Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed us with another day of fasting and another day to be able to try to benefit those who we can benefit, right? And we'll be going back again, back into our book, the Al-Maqasid, Imam Nawawi's manual, and we'll pick up where we left off yesterday, and we're on the section of Tahara. This tahara is called purification. And this tahara is lifting, right? Is lifting the impurities off of whether we're talking about your person, whether we're talking about your clothing, whether we're talking about the place you worship, or whether we're talking about the qalb, the heart, right? Lifting uh, najasa, which is filth, or hadith, which is the ritual impurity, uh, lifting these impurities off one so that one's ibadah can be accepted. So we are on purifying articles of filth, from filth. And the author says, whatever is affected by saliva, by traces of moisture from dogs or swine, whether saliva, urine, anything moist from them, or any of their dry parts that have become moist, can only be purified by being washed 7 times, one of which must be with earth, meaning water made murky by the earth through another fallible. The Shafi'i position holds that any cleansing agent, such as soap, may take the place of earth. So we talking about the filth of swine and dogs. And remember from yesterday's class, we said that the swine and the dog are impure and cannot be made pure. So anything from their saliva or anything that's wet touches any article of clothing or any place where we are performing ibadah, it must be cleaned, right? And if the hair on this animal is moist, then also whatever that touches has to be cleaned. And the cleaning process is that it has to be washed 7 times, and one time it has to be washed with earth. And now, in the Shafi method, which we follow, in which the book is based off of, saying that for the earth we can replace that with some type of soap. So washing the thing 7 times, and we can use soap or any cleansing agent in place of the earth. Though if something dry such as animal's breath or hair touches one person, it need only to be brushed away. So if the hair of the animal is not wet and it's dry, you can just brush it away. Articles affected with any other form of filth can be purified by washing it completely away with water just once, though 3 times is better, right? So if the affected area doesn't have to do with a dog or a swine, right, and the filth comes from something else, then that article or that place, right, or that body part only has to be washed 1 time, although the sunnah is always 3 times. So it is 3 times that is better. Something affected with urine, now dried or so wrung out that no moisture is separable from it to touch, of a male infant that has eaten nothing for nutrition, as opposed to things like a taste of dates for the sunnah of the tahnik after birth, besides milk, of any kind of human, as well as all dairy products made purely from milk, such as cheese, plain yogurt, and cottage cheese, can be purified by sprinkling or pouring water over it so that it covers the entire spot. So the urine, right? And they're making a distinction between urine of a baby infant, right? If this of a baby male infant, right? If the urine gets on you from a baby male infant, right? It and the infant hasn't eaten any food, but is still feeding off of breast milk or the like, and has not had any solid types of food, then it is enough just to sprinkle water over the spot where the urine has been, and that will suffice as a purification of that person, clothing, or place. The dead of animals without flowing blood, such as flies and the like, are excusable in water, though not on one's person, for the purpose of ritual purity, as is a little pus or blood on one's person when praying, for example. Right? So the dead animals without flowing blood, such as flies and the like, are excusable. Right? So you don't have to too much worry about the dead flies and things like that. Uh, as far as for the purpose of ritual purity, as as is a little pus or blood. It is permissible to use any vessels or containers or other instruments besides those made from gold or silver. If there is confusion between a pure vessel and one affected with filth, one we should take care of to make sure to distinguish the one from the other, right? So vessels, right? Vessels of gold and silver, uh, we shouldn't use, but it is permissible to use any other vessels or containers, right? So gold and silver vessels we can't use, but any other type of vessels we can use. And this is for purification, right? To pour your water in, like to make wudu, maybe to clean and things like this, to drink out of, right? The gold and silver we cannot use, but we should take precautions to make sure that these things are pure, right? And nothing inside these containers are impure. Using a toothstick, a siwak, a miswak, right? A twig or the like on the teeth and around them to remove an unpleasant change in the breath or similar together with the intention of performing the sunnah is recommended, except after the noon for someone who is fasting. It is especially recommended for rising from sleep, performing the prayer, and change in breath, right? So, another purification tool, right, that the Muslims use is called a siwak or a miswak. And this is like a tooth stick, right, that we Muslims we use to brush our teeth, to freshen our breath, and the like. And it is highly recommended that we use the miswak or the siwak, right? And the only time that it is not recommended to use the siwak is when you're fasting after and using it after the noon prayer, right? While fasting, you shouldn't use the siwak. We'll go into this next section. The four causes of minor ritual impurity. Hadith. All right. Remember, this is the minor. We're talking about the minor ritual impurities, not the major ritual impurities. This hadith, right? Ablution, wudu, is necessitated by, meaning is nullified by and must be renewed after any of the following four things termed causes of manner ritual hadith impurity, which is hadith. If one wants to perform something that may only be done with ablution, such as the salat or touching the Quran and so forth. So we're getting ready to go over four four things that require the Muslim who wants to worship Allah by making salat, touching the Quran, and any other thing that deems that you have to be in a state of of purification of wudu to do. These four things necessitates a wudu, that you have to make wudu, and it's only four things, right? So don't think that it's 100 things that break your wudu that makes you have to make wudu. It's 4 points, and we'll get ready to go over those 4 points that causes a person to be in a state of minor ritual impurity, hadith. So the first one is anything that exits from the front or rear private parts, right? Anything that exits from the front or rear private part necessitates that you have to make wudu. Two, loss of intellect, meaning the loss of the ability to distinguish whether through insanity, unconsciousness, sleep, or other. Loss of intellect excludes drowsing and daydreaming, which do not nullify ablution. Among the signs of drowsing is that one can hear the words of those present, even if uncomprehendingly, unless one falls asleep while firmly seated on the ground or other surface firm enough to prevent a person from breaking wind while seated on it asleep, and remains that way until one wakes up. So, loss of intellect is the second one. And loss of intellect includes uh, fainting, going unconscious, losing your mental, going insane for a couple of seconds, and sleep, right? And what is excluded in sleep is that if you're sitting